Welcome to the resurrection of my Bloodborne showcase series. So, Chalice dungeons are pretty much the most horrifying thing in Bloodborne, and that's saying a lot, knowing this game. They are multi-leveled ruins underneath Yharnam city. Some are handcrafted by the developers, while the root Chalice dungeons are procedurally generated, and these vary in difficulty from depths 1 to 5. They are optional, I'd say, separate from the main game in a sense. Now, veteran players might enjoy the challenges, but let me tell you, no matter what anyone says, they are hard. If you put an inexperienced player in the cursed, Thumerian defiled Chalice dungeon, for example, they'd get ripped apart in seconds. Some of these dungeons feature some truly terrifying creatures, but there's a huge amount of content in these dungeons. There have been many discoveries and surprising secrets uncovered down here, and we've got a few here today. So that's the introduction. Now let's take a look at some of the gems we've been sent by the community this time, starting at number 10. At number 10, we have Extrin, who's found a pretty incredible interaction involving the beast-possessed soul enemy and the dungeon boss, Bloodletting Beast. Turns out, the beast-possessed soul, the smaller one throwing fireballs you can see, is a unique enemy in that it's aggressive to everything, even other invaders. It's not afraid to take on Chalice dungeon bosses 3 times its size. This is a great discovery though. Anyone struggling with this fight now has a little help. Maybe even more help than you might think, as there's something even more unexpected coming up. That's right, you can heal the beast-possessed soul with the choir bell for some reason. What an amazing interaction. It's so cool of the developers to include that, I think. With this knowledge, the beast-possessed soul can completely solo the boss, allowing Extrin to cruise through to the next floor, adding just a little bit of healing support. Although you've got to remember, alliances with wild beasts don't always last forever. Next up is Miguel co-oping with a friend using the Holy Moonlight Sword and Simon's Bowblade against Amygdala. A very cautious weapon choice, allowing them to attack from range and stay out of the way of its many limited attacks. You really need to be hitting its head or its forward arms for efficient damage, but against a creature so high off the ground, this isn't always easy. Now this boss is found at the end of layer 3 in the Defiled Chalice dungeon, a notoriously difficult dungeon because your health is halved. You get 50% of what you normally have. Tiny health bar. Now to compensate, the physical damage you take is reduced as well, so that's not completely unfair, but elemental damage stays the same, so it's very possible to be killed in one hit. Also means you want to avoid Amygdala's vomit, because that deals fire damage. It's funny because I hadn't played Bloodborne for months before working on this video, and when I saw these incredible boss fights again, I felt a newfound appreciation for the absolute bonkers design work that went into this game. I think Bloodborne has the most creative, innovative, monolithic boss fights out of any Souls-like game. I really like them. This submission though was a great showcase of smart play. Sometimes slow and steady certainly wins the race, and in this case both players did well to avoid the attacks, force in damage with their bow blades when they could, and ending the fight in serious style as they rush in together for the final blow. Number 8, Chris Tucker is battling his way through the middle of a floor, rushing down the Bell Maiden, a very important enemy to focus down first because she spawns new enemies constantly. Sometimes such an aggressive strategy makes a lot of noise. It alerts a lot of nearby enemies and things can heat up real fast. Especially when there's a brain sucker. Horrifying butt clench moment there, twice. Those elite versions of the brain suckers can paralyze you, but he was unbelievably lucky that the uneven height of the stairs made sure that its follow-up grab attack missed him by inches. Travis Todd is venturing through yet another deadly dungeon full of horrifying enemies who want to eat you alive. Oh, wait a minute! A friendly doggo! Ah, lads, what are we going to name it? I'm voting for Trevor, the cute little terrifying werewolf rabbit dog thingy. So I did a little bit of research to see if anyone else had found something similar, if it's meant to be like the passive torch hollows in Dark Souls 2, but I don't think it is. I couldn't find anything on it. I don't think there's meant to be a friendly dog in the Chalice dungeon, so what that really means is he's a very special boy, clearly. I'd love to be able to say that this heartwarming tale has a similarly happy ending, but unfortunately, Travis is the coldest killer I've ever encountered. This is definitely one hunter that can't resist the sweet smell of blood.
Oh, it seems to me.
Number 6. Now we have a party of 2. Going through together, he's helping his best friend go through some lower depth chalices for the first time. And they've come across one of the funniest enemies in Bloodborne. A superior being, according to this message left by another player.
If you're a superior being, let me write that one, that's funny. This naked guy with a giant club. Superior being. Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god.
What am I supposed to do about that? Because you can't roll sideways because it doesn't let you.
This guy was discovered quite early after Bloodborne release in 2015. Many people think that it's a reference by the developers to Dark Souls. They're perhaps poking fun at how Dark Souls players used to roll around like fatties. I think it's technically a variation of the Merciless Watcher boss, clearly quite alarming for a new player. Speaking of alarming, this new guy's luck does not change. Later on in their travels, they end up getting jump scared, properly jump scared. I've never heard anyone panic as badly as this guy before.
See, as soon as... I didn't fucking ready.
Number 5. I think it was around last year, people started finding tons and tons of unused cut content in Bloodborne, and while all these hackers were finding such crazy things in the game, asset test dungeons were discovered as well. And this is an amazingly unique aspect of Bloodborne. Regular people with no knowledge of save editors could access cut content simply by using unused Chalice IDs. Now obviously a lot of these secret dungeons are unfinished and therefore a bit dangerous. Some of them can leave you with no way to die, so you can be stuck forever or have your game crash, etc, etc. Here we have Ethan, who's in one of these very dungeons, quite a popular one, with the glyph SIKGC3SM. This one contains an unused version, or an early version perhaps, of the Moon Presence boss fight that can't be found anywhere else. It even has a completely unique location or arena to fight it in, although obviously again it's unfinished. It's a bit similar to the Orphan of Kos beach environment. I actually think it looks really cool. It's amazing that previously inaccessible content can be explored by regular players, just by typing in a code. It honestly makes me wonder if this would be popular in more games as an actual feature. I really think there might be a big interest in getting a hands-on, behind-the-scenes look at game development this way. It's always quite interesting to see content that the developers choose to cut out, whether for time reasons or they ended up changing their design later on. Either way, it's even cooler to be able to play those sections of the game. Deadly traps are a key feature in Chalice dungeons, of course. If you thought Sen's Fortress was bad, think again. That was a series of unfortunate events. Lemony Snicket would be proud. Now get ready for a frenzied, chaotic invasion from Scorched Night. A follow-up to the importance of traps, pay close attention to the trigger plates on the floor and the absolutely masterful way in which this invader uses them to tear apart a group of 4 other players. taking advantage of the fire arrow traps to literally run circles around his opponents is amazing. Now you can have 5 people in a dungeon, 2 invaders, the host, and then 2 summons. And the first 2 players he killed were in fact a second invader, whoops, plus a summon. So the invader was accidental, sucks for him, but Scorched Knight didn't care. It's so nice to see such a creative Chalice PvP clip. It's a shame we don't see more, seeing as they have some of the most unique traps and environments in the game. The next one is purely skill based, to be honest. This player is a bit of a Bloodborne expert, it seems. He calls himself the Casual. He's put together a 20-minute video featuring him killing every single Chalice dungeon boss in 40 seconds or less. At blood level 4, that is the lowest level you can possibly be, starting with a waste of skin class. Of course, I won't show all of them here, but as always you can go to his channel to check out the full video if you have further interest. He helpfully demonstrates how he's put together this build as well, which is nice. We can see he's reaching an AR of 943 with his uncanny sword cleaver, so he's using poor man's gems with a full beast meter and fire paper. His armor set also gives the highest beasthood bonus in the game, with the Ashen Hunter's garb and the Braidor's set. We can also see he has 0 insight, which boosts beasthood. Beasthood being the effect that comes by consuming a beast blood pellet. As you begin attacking enemies, your beast gauge increases, which in turn increases your physical damage. So definitely a build worth looking at, might be one to copy. It's built to shred bosses at a very low level, that's for sure. 2 key highlights from his video would definitely be Defiled Watchdog and the Defiled Amygdala fights. Those are often the ones that are just too difficult for many players to attempt. So it really is spectacular to see them dropped in 40 seconds by a base level character. Extremely impressive. Not just memorizing the boss patterns and being very good with your timings, but particularly with your build making skills. Really looks like you put a lot of time into maximizing the efficiency there, so congratulations for the fastest blood level 4 dungeon boss kills. Alright, number 1. It's something you wouldn't think would be possible, but then again this is the Soulsborne community and they sure do love a bit of pain. Camis is defeating one of the hardest Chalice bosses at blood level 4 as well, but the complete opposite. His build is absolutely not set up to burn down bosses instantly. He's attempting to beat Ebrietas with a torch only, level 4 naked character in a cursed, rotted, fetid depth 5 dungeon with no healing. I'll explain why this challenge is so unbelievable in just a second, but first of all remember that this is the cursed dungeon, so his health is halved. She's quite unpredictable, she could easily one-shot you, and she has a lot of moves, which makes repetitive strategies a bit more tricky. But that's not even the problem to consider here. See, the problem he has to face is Ebrietas casts a damaging aura around her halfway through the fight at 50% health. You can see her doing it here. This aura constantly damages the player. Just by existing, you're taking damage when she comes close. Now this wouldn't necessarily be a problem normally because you could just heal, right? But as we mentioned, Camis is a madman and he's refusing to heal. So we have a level 4 character with barely any health in a cursed dungeon with his pitiful health cut in half and he can't heal. He told me in his email that he worked out if he had stayed next to Ebrietas, the aura would have killed him in 20 seconds. This means even when he gets a visceral attack opportunity, he can't take the critical attack because the aura would just kill him. He has to always be running away. Sometimes he sprints in just to tap the end of her tentacles and then immediately retreat to avoid much damage. You may not have noticed yet, but the other thing to consider is the aura does damage the boss, thankfully. Without that aspect, this challenge would genuinely be impossible. Thank you for watching and submitting. Next topic, we'll do top 10 creative builds, or unique builds, that kind of thing. Feel free to go really in depth with your explanations, by the way. It's always interesting to hear why people choose particular armor pieces, what stat breakpoints they aim for, and so on. So go find some cool arcane spells, pick up some different trick weapons, and cause some mayhem in PvP. Send your footage to the email on screen, Please don't send it anywhere else, or I might not see it. Have a good day, everyone. I'll see you later.